Oh, hello there, dear viewer. So I put these videos out on YouTube, and sometimes there's an unexpected blip. Usually I expect 0 to 5 or 67 viewers if it's a good day. And I can't help the way I am. I know that I should be professional and all this kind of nonsense, and heck, I've written articles, well-regarded articles, and made videos and given presentations about integrated marketing communications. How presentation is key and all this kind of stuff. On the one hand, you see people are interested in other people's personalities, but on the other hand, after a point, everything just gets too much. I mean, I could sit here giving you all kinds of life-changing wisdom and information. It's like Don Juan himself says. They're sitting in the desert, the so-called chaparral. No one even knew what that word meant before Castaneda. Many of us still don't know what it means. So they're sitting there, there's campfire, all the usual nonsense, coyotes howling in the background and all this kind of stuff. My question is, on a side note, why don't you believe that there are people that are like Don Juan who exist? Like us for Shia Muslims, we believe that our Ayatollahs, Damullahu Dhullahum, of course there's good, bad and ugly. Some of them have these powers. They have this thing called Tahtul Arth, folding of the earth, which is teleportation. So there's a famous scholar, for instance, who's teaching in the south of Iran, and he lives in the north of Iran, and it's just taken as a matter of course for a godly person. Once you've turned, if there is a God, and there is indeed, if you turn yourself over to him, it's basically the saying in Islam, Abdi, my servant, Ata'ani, worship me or obey me, Taj'aluka mithli, and I'll make you like me. That's God's promise. It's not about heaven or hell. It's about two things, or three. First of all, thanking him. Second of all, loving him. And then third of all, becoming like him. That's it. So in any case, I've got another list of things here to talk to you about. So don't think that I've come unprepared and that I'm going to be rambling. And these are all Castanedian things, by the way. So they're sitting in the desert, Don Juan and Castaneda. And Castaneda, being an academician, he has a very analytical mind, and he's always the theme of the whole thing is that he's a bumbling academician. Bumbling meaning it's like Imam Khomeini said, rahmatullah alayh, that knowledge is the thickest of veils. He didn't say this thing actually. This is something that's said by our scholars. Knowledge is the thickest of veils. So Castaneda is sitting there writing things down furiously, and Don Juan and Don Yanara are making fun of him. And then one time, Don Yanara says to him, if you don't have a pen, write using your finger. And he's like, how can you write using your finger? He said something peculiar and amazing. He said, as you write, you're moving your assemblage point so that everything you're writing is going right into your memory. And by the way, I do that. I write everything down. Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, and his family said, write everything that you know down in order to remember it. And when I run out of pen, I'm so addicted to doing that. When I run out of pen or paper or whatever, I'll just write it on my hand. I'll be like A, B, U, O, T. And I'll write the whole sentence about the girl. Great Nirvana song. Anyone? Hello, is there anybody out there? Don Juan stands up, and Castaneda has been bugging him with questions. Why this? Why that? What's the nahwal? What's the tonal? What's impeccability? What's the spirit? Is the spirit God? Silly stuff, just usual nonsense. So Don Juan gets up and he makes a dramatic speech. Obviously, I mean it's basically what I'm going to be talking about here. Timing. Don Juan has the control and the discipline to just keep shut. And just let Castaneda do his thing and not let him bother Don Juan. Don Juan used to tell Castaneda that just dealing with you, Carlito, is training for me and my spirit just to remain impeccable. It's just like dealing with a kid, right? Timing, and then finally he unleashes. And when he unleashes, it's like Imam Ali said, peace be upon him. They go to war, and Imam Ali's army is standing there. And the narrations say that you see line upon line of, you know, pious and God-fearing faces. And, you know, the other side, on the other hand, the so-called Muslim caliph or whatever, I mean, they're basically terrorists. And Imam Ali was fighting terrorists. You might as well just say that. And he freaking slaughtered them. In fact, after one battle, the face of the earth seemed to have been rid of these people. And somebody said to him, well, it looks like we've killed them all. He said, no, that's not the case. He's like, they're going to continue to exist, and this and that's going to happen. But whenever a leader of theirs will rise, they're going to be cut down like this and this until the last of them turn to thieves and robbers. That's what you say today. Thieves and robbers, right? Anyhow, Don Juan's like, I'm going to give you the greatest piece of wisdom, or let's say a very powerful piece of wisdom. He basically said the greatest piece of wisdom that anyone can ever say to you. Unfortunately for you and me, dear viewer, such wisdom abounds. If I say to you, life is beautiful, enjoy it. I just made that up. Or life is hard, but life is good. You know, stuff like that. Life is hard, but, you know, it's just a simple common sense thing can turn into the most profound wisdom. Life is good, enjoy it. Life is hard, live it, right? Or, you know, basically it's hard and you have to go into it head first. Anyhow, this is what Don Juan says to Carlito. He said, right now you're surrounded by infinity. And if you want, using your will alone, your will is a force that emanates from a person's navel. So navel is basically your sternum, like right here. So apparently, like in many Eastern traditions, they talk about the will or the sternum and all this kind of stuff. And according to Don Juan, apparently it's the same kind of thing. So basically, your will is the center of how you interact with the world on an energetic perspective, from an energetic perspective. So in the Castanedian way of thinking, man is just a cocoon of energy. You know, this whole so-called world of solid objects is just a cocoon of, it's not a cocoon, it's filaments of energy, filaments of light. Now, whether or not they're shooting out of an eagle's beak or some damn thing like that, or whether or not it's like a turtle throwing up, it's irrelevant and immaterial. Why Don Juan talks about a great eagle that stretches off into infinity, it doesn't make any damn sense. It's because what's out there is inconceivable. That's my problem with atheists. And I know I'm going around in circles, but I'll get to this stuff. This great stuff that I'm sure you want to listen to me talking about. Yeah, right? These are the 4 moods of talking. And these are the 5 attributes of warriorship. So I was going to make a segue into, like, I talked about impeccability. Then I talked about love versus fear. And love versus fear is an important discussion because you only do something, like if you were to try and live impeccably or maintain, you know, what it is to be a warrior, like maintain that level of honor and sublimity in your thinking and your actions, you need to be motivated sufficiently. And so love and fear, that discussion is very important. Once you've done that, you realize basically you need to do something that's called stalking. Alright, so let's go to discussion number 2 for a second. So basically, Don Juan says you're surrounded by infinity, and if you want, not only that, Carlito's like, wow, he loves stuff like that, obviously. Everyone does. I love it too. Carlito's like, okay, and Don Juan's like, you can extend yourself into infinity in any direction using your will. And he's like, there, I've given you a profound piece of wisdom, let's see what you do with it. And they're staring at each other, the embers are crackling on the fire, and coyotes are howling and all this kind of nonsense. Nothing. Don Juan said, you understand, the whole point of it is that you don't have enough personal power to even understand what I'm saying. You barely kind of get a smidgen of something out of it. And by the way, I'm paraphrasing wholesale here, so don't ever think that Castaneda's books are like me, like complete jibber jabber and a bunch of nonsensical rabblings that most people simply don't have time for, including myself, I might add. I got calls to make all kinds of stuff. You don't understand what I'm doing for you here, user, but that's fine because you're probably not going to see this thing anyway. So I'm hoping that this comes out the right way around, because in my camera it's reflected backwards, I guess. So in order to fly away in infinity, Don Juan says you need personal power. What's personal power? We've talked about personal power. It's what we call faith in Islam. Impeccability is the fear of God, essentially. And as you become more impeccable, your faith rises. And as your faith rises, your way of seeing the world rises. Impossible things begin to happen to a warrior at that point. His will is strengthened, and so on and so forth. The way you gain personal power is being impeccable. And the way you be impeccable is being motivated by fear and not love. Fear, not love. Love is not the motivator. You basically transcend into a state of loving. But that's a different story. Love is not something basically that you manufacture. What you can manufacture is you can manufacture an adherence to the principles of love. Love demands respect. It demands duty. It demands honor. It demands integrity. It demands wholesale sacrifice, compromise, forgiveness. All these things you can do, but you can't love. It's just like the atheists say, well, we can't believe. If I don't believe there's a thief about to attack me, like you're telling me, what am I going to do about it? In the same way, atheists, I was saying earlier, they think that the universe is knowable. And the big difference between a believer and an atheist is we say the universe is unknowable. It's not only unknown, it's unknowable. That's the word that Don Juan uses when he speaks to Castaneda. So, you're probably, if you've looked at this at all, you're probably wondering, what the hell is all this? Sweet is nice, you like it, I love it, everyone loves being sweet. Patience. So sweetness, patience, ruthlessness, and cunningness are the 4 moods of stalking. Stalking is yourself. You stalk yourself. Jihad bin nafs is essentially the... nafs literally means self. Nafsi means myself. Nafsak means yourself. So jihad bin nafs, the struggle with the self. Jihad as simply means struggle. Okay, struggle against badness, struggle against outward and inward stuff. The greater struggle is the inward struggle. So stalking is the same thing. Essentially, you're watching the fountainhead of your thoughts and emotions and feelings, whatever that is. Nobody knows what that is, but you're paying attention to it. Part of you that you have control over, you're watching what's going on there. And you are assuming a certain mood. Now, you see, basically, the 4 attributes of warriorship come into play in the sense that you need control, you need discipline, timing, will, and you need something called the petty tyrant. So control, obviously you've got control over yourself. You're not just blabbering away like I do sometimes. Discipline is like, it's tactics and strategy. Control is just right now. I have control over myself right now, this minute. Discipline is more long term. You're basically planning out your day and all this kind of stuff. Timing is you just let things rise up. And Imam Ali, peace be upon him, in his battle, the opposing armies of the evil tyrant, terrorist king Muawiyah, father of Yazid, curse of God be upon them both. His soldiers are screaming and shouting and Allahu Akbar and all this savagery. And Imam Ali's guys are just standing there checking this whole scene out. And the Imam looks to one of his generals, peace be upon him, or something, and he says, as for us, we're just like the rain cloud that gathers water, and at a certain point it just pours forth spontaneously. Will is not the will power of traditional people, but the actual emanating energy filaments from the center of your body. Petty tyrant, this is going to be a huge topic in the future. Petty tyrant means that you can have these 4 attributes of warriorship, and these are all internal. All right? This one is external, the petty tyrant. Okay? The petty tyrant is basically, oh my God, there's a gorgeous bird outside the window. I gotta go feed them little shits. All right, petty tyrant is someone who torments you. You need that in your life, apparently, according to Don Juan way of thinking. So this I'm going to come back to. This I've done. This I'm going to come back to. Stalking. Okay, so This leads to another beautiful subject called controlled folly. And that's basically what I'm going to be talking about next. Controlled folly is essentially, it's stalking from a Don Juanic perspective, but it's acting. Controlled folly. I wrote controlled here, then I wrote acting. So acting is controlled folly. And when you're engaging with people, you have to put on a mask of sweetness, or a mask of patience when they're rambling away and talking nonsense, or ruthlessness. The Quran says show people your hard side if you need to. And people take that to be, oh my God, they're so horrible and they love killing people and they love slaughtering people. They don't even know about words like love. Half of religion is love. What is religion other than love and hate? Said our seventh Imam. And what else? Half of religion is kindness. Half of faith is kindness. Okay? Like half of it is kindness because the other half is your duties to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So there you go. That's all you get. I'm at 15 minutes and I hope you liked it. I hope you liked it. So basically, once again, impeccability is the key. You have to think of it as fear of God. If you think of it as something like, oh my God, I'm just going to like do my own thing and I'm going to create some Zen and one day I'm going to be this aficionado, pseudo spiritual guru and all the babes will be coming to me with like blankets and we'll head off to the beach. Don't be stupid. It's a very serious thing. It's nothing like you're thinking. You think that life is a damn joke. That's why your life is a joke. You think I'm a joke, right? Obviously. I've seen things and done things that I can't even describe to you. I don't even remember some stuff. I do, of course, if I think about remembering it. But I mean, I just pass over a lot of stuff. But there's stuff that's going on right now around you. If you open your eye or look on the inside, inner or outer eye, there's stuff going on that would just destroy your mind. Just destroy your whole way of thinking. This beautiful life that you've got with your wife and family and all this kind of stuff is all great. And it can be part of this other stuff. But this other stuff is where it's at. See you later. Watch one of my napalm death videos. Goodbye for now.